Hi, I've never posted here before. I'm not sure where to start as I could write a book with all of my experiences. I don't necessarily want my post to blow up, I'm more so looking for other people's opinions. Let me start off with this. I'm mortified of dolls. Porcelain little baby dolls, sometimes even just teddies or toys. Dolls make me want to exit my body from fear. Now, this is the lead up to why. I grew up in a extremely haunted duplex. This duplex could have a book written behind it. What I'm explaining doesn't even touch the surface, it's just grazing it. You see, I have very little memory of this duplex since I was about 6 or 7 when I lived there. My family lived there for 2 years, but it felt like an eternity. I have had a couple of memories, most of which being paranormal, but because I remember so little, I've been really wondering, did something happen with the doll that I've repressed? I'm sure a lot of people have family members who gift the new babies in the family a porcelain doll. I was born in 1995, no idea if people still give newborns porcelain dolls or if it was just a Greek thing. Either way, I had this porcelain doll in a light blue dress, white frills, curly blonde hair attached to a swing. She never came out of the box until I was around 10 or so. I also loved the big comfy couch. I had a little Molly doll with the plastic head, yarn hair and stuffed body. She had these cardboard pieces you could put in a bow or a thought bubble or something. I was obsessed with Molly growing up. She was my favorite doll when I was really small. I don't remember playing with her, but my mum said she was glued to me. She definitely looked very loved. I just don't remember. Anyways, sorry that this story is already so long-winded. I'll move on. So, after moving into my new home, years and years go by and I'm digging through my Teddy's toy box. I find Molly and I'm excited. I have always slept with far too much on my bed, even to this day. My bed is all pillows, squishmallows and massive body pillows. I felt connected to Molly all of a sudden. So she stayed in the corner of my bed against the wall and the bed frame. She stayed like that for a few months until I started having these nightmares. To make it a bit clearer to you, you will understand where I'm coming from if you've had weird or messed up dreams. You know the ones where you're in someone's house, but it isn't how the house is necessarily set up. It's like that it's being changed or something. In this dream, I was in my cousin's bedroom, where my uncle's bedroom used to be. I remember this is a dream. I remember thinking to myself that this is a dream. I walked into my cousin's bedroom and Molly would be kinda laying there, sitting against my cousin's pillows. The room was pink and purple, very girly. The sun was setting and the room looked pretty. I entered the room and my attention was immediately drawn to Molly. I felt so uncomfortable and on edge. By that point, I'm walking into her bedroom. I have this nauseating, horrible feeling hit me. Anxiety hits hard. I can't look away from Molly. When suddenly, of course, she slowly stands, still facing away from me. She's looking to my right, straight ahead. She's levitating, lifting up and starting to turn towards me. The room goes dark and I'm sprinting into the light switch. I can't find it. However, once I do, it doesn't work. I grab the door, I feel her behind me. I throw the door open and run down my uncle's hallway. I turn and I see her floating behind me. My grandma, my dad, my uncles, mum, all of them are at the end of this hallway. My grandmother isn't dead, just so you know. I run to her. Her eyes are red and she's just staring ahead. I'm screaming at her to do something, and then I jolt awake. Normally sprinting to my light switch, terrified that it wouldn't turn on. She was on my bed when this first started happening. I remember I had that dream a few times. Each time some stuff altered, but it was always the same. Until I got fed up of those dreams, this loophole, I jumped down onto my uncle's stairs that passed the hallway. There were 20 plus steps. When I dived down, my head hit the ceiling part that leads you down the stairs. And I'm pretty sure in this dream I broke my neck or something, but the last time I had that dream, I dove down the stairs and died. After these reoccurring nightmares, I tied Molly in a pillowcase and threw her under my bed. I still didn't feel safe, so she ended up in the crawl space. When my family moved nearly 10 years later, my mum took her out of the crawl space and I started to cry. Laugh cry, but because I was so uncomfortable, I ended up giving her away. Turns out those Molly dollies can cost a lot of money nowadays. Either way, the duplex I lived in before, the one I mentioned earlier, had a demonic entity. It approached me as my childhood dog when I lived in the duplex. I'm not sure if the demonic entity tortured me via toys or dolls, but I do know that it did something. It had to have triggered this irrational fear. Now back to the porcelain doll I was given as a baby. The one on the swing. I had her on my wall, hanging on her swing in this duplex. But I would stare at her all night, expecting her to turn her head, float, crawl to me. You know, the stereotypical horror movie stuff. In the end, I was petrified. I ended up throwing her into something like I did with Molly, and then tossing her too into the crawl space. Later, I got rid of her too. Now, I know it is rude since it was a baby gift, but I really cannot stand dolls. My girlfriend seems to be possessed. I really have no idea what's going on. A few months ago, she suddenly became terrified, lost all ability to recall any happy memories of us. And then she ran home to her parents' house, crying all day because we weren't together. She then became extremely confused, uttering a bunch of really weird sentences that made no sense to either of us. These were logical contradictions that she couldn't explain at all. She then started to try to unalive herself repeatedly, saying that she only wanted to die and become a ghost. I had to do everything I could to stop her from hurting herself. Fortunately, she seems much healthier and less sad now. However, almost every time she talks to me now, she only remembers awful things that happened between us, which she previously claimed not to remember and denied doing it at all. She says all the happy things we did together weren't her and couldn't have possibly have been her. When we first met, she told me she felt like there was another person inside her, talking to her. Now it seems like that's who I am talking to almost all of the time. Whoever this is saying they actually don't like either my girlfriend or me at all. That they dislike being a girl and only want to talk about demons and ghosts. Additionally, they say that they don't want to talk to me and never actually wanted to be my partner. But then my girlfriend texts me directly, and whoever I'm talking to talks to me for hours while telling me to go away. Every once in a while it seems my girlfriend comes back and she says that she loves me very much. Then there's a sudden personality change and she has no memories of any happy things between us, only the horrible things she has previously said that she didn't remember, along with confusing things I know she would never say. My current guess is that she is possessed by an orphaned ghost, one that she took in because she was worried about it. Other than saying a bunch of really awful things that aren't even close to true, he seems to possibly want to talk about computer programming. However, my skills are too rusty to be of any help, and that's my girlfriend's experience anyway. So she'd be in a better position to help him there. Does anyone have any advice? My cousin got possessed for 9 days and was exorcised. I was 9 when it happened. I have my own fair share of scary experiences, mostly paranormal, such as seeing a red-eyed pokey out in the tall grass, Santa toys falling and turning on, but them appearing to not have any batteries, and witnessing 2 possessions. One was my classmate, which happened during a field trip, but the one that I will never forget, so number 2, was one that lasted about a week. Be aware, this is a long story. It was early November in 2009, and we've just finished celebrating All Souls Day, or Day of the Dead here in the Philippines. We lived in a small subdivision surrounded by all kinds of neighbors, so we really didn't expect things to turn south that fast. It's just me, my brother, my mum and dad, grandfather and cousin, who have been living in the house for about 6 months. And so far, so good. My mum's store is doing great. First time being able to watch Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, and I've just started my Pokemon Fire Red playthrough. Then it happened. My cousin told us about the voices she hears at night and the constant banging she feels underneath her bed. We shrugged it off as some nightmare, and days passed until she brought it up again. But this time she woke up nearby the stairs at 3 a.m. and that actually made my parents a little worried. I was a kid, so I wasn't actually scared. To be honest, I'm actually pretty pumped to experience my first actual paranormal activity. My brother, on the other hand, was quiet for some reason. What my cousin told us the next day actually sent shivers down my spine. She was taking a bath, and when she poured the water on her back, it parted ways, like someone or something was on her back. Initially, it wasn't that scary, but I was reminded of Shutter and Boy. That scared me to death when we watched it, the scene on the ladder. It was then that my brother admitted that he can see spirits, actually shadow and light figures, and my dad actually experienced participating in an exorcism when he was still young. The events that proceeded to unfold are just horrifying. Thinking about it now that I'm older, we had our first exorcism, and it wasn't what I expected it to be. She was just laying on the bed and saying weird stuff. I actually hoped that she'd levitate or rotate her head, not gonna lie. She was able to rip a page from the Bible before becoming stable. My brother heard voices of different genders and ages. What's worse is that she had to sleep in our room since hers is cursed or something. She slept below the side where I usually sleep in, and in that moment I've never wanted to sleep as fast as I did in my entire life. The thought of opening your eyes and she's floating above you or staring at you directly in your face. The next day was kind of tame. My cousin was doing fine. My grandpa just happened to see a lady in black veil coming down from the stairs to the kitchen, which was an extension of the house. I was outside at the time, as well as my parents and brothers, so not the type of news we'd want to hear. The next day was the grand finale, good versus evil. As I watched everything unfold while eating a bowl of pancit canton noodles, it was the worst she's ever been physically, and it looked terrifying. She started doing incantations, to which my dumb 10-year-old brain responded with more made-up incantations. I just didn't take it seriously at all. They decided to cleanse her room, which was even more harder to do because of her brother participating in the cleanse and eventually getting possessed too. He looked at one of the images of my grandmother, to which he described the eyes turning black, and that's when he lost control. He was friggin' strong, being able to take on my dad and the priest assistant. Eventually, she threw up a black necklace and decided to kill it on the dance floor, as witnessed by my kid brain. She looked into a mirror, and just like that, it was over. They took care of the mirror, and she was brought into church rehab. We didn't realize how many spectators we had outside of our house at the time. We discovered that the owner of the house had been performing a ritual after the extension, so yeah, we had to move out. I'm glad it's just the house that was haunted. For those who are wondering, my cousin is doing fine now, and so are we. According to some of our ex-neighbors, they still see figures inside of her room when they walk past it. Just a quick message from Grimm here. I don't like that one. That one made me uncomfortable. Alright, next story. I have witnessed a phenomenon of a spirit possession with my own eyes. Hi guys, I'm from Vietnam. I know this is hard to believe, but the fact is that I have seen this phenomenon in my house. Weeks ago, my mum's friend came to my home to chat with my mother. Everything is okay until she suddenly had a slight convulsion. After that, she told us that he was her father-in-law. We have known that he died 5 months ago. Let's talk a little bit about her. She is a bride in a family where everyone treats her badly, except for her father-in-law. Her husband's family is not poor at all, but she is not helped in any way financially and has to raise two sons and take care of her husband who suffered an accident due to a traffic accident. Even so, her father-in-law loved her very much because she too took care of him until he died. Let's get back to my story. After she started having the convulsion, her voice changed from that of a lady's to what sounded like an old man. She/he said he's always following her to protect her. After that, he told us about some story that nobody in her family knows. One thing that made me believe in this is that my mum's friend never smoked. But after this whole experience, she asked me if I could go to the market and buy her a packet of cigarettes. My mother said that this phenomenon has happened many times before in her working place. I used to not believe in this thing, but after all of this, and after speaking with my mother, I have changed my mind now. Anyway, thank you for reading. I hope you guys won't mind, because my English and writing skills are not very good, but I just felt it would be a good place to share my encounter. My partner is being possessed, and I need help. I need step-by-step instructions on how to exorcise the demon or demons that are trying to possess my partner. She's a witch. We both practice magic occasionally, and maybe a few card readings every now and then, but we haven't practiced any magic that would put us at risk. We have a demon or some sort of spirit in our flat that's been around for almost a year. It seems pretty chill and is a bit of a joker. It occasionally possesses different items such as the clock, our creepy wind-up clown, the Wi-Fi router and Xbox controller, but lately it's been able to move through items. I'm not sure if it's doing it with the intention to scare us. Me and my partner personally think it's more amusing and something cool, so we're unsure. My idiot partner, when doing an Ouija board session, insisted that we not use salt and crystals to protect us from whatever could come out, as she wanted to experience and study possession. I knew this was a stupid idea, as although she is quite powerful with her magic, her mind is weak and wouldn't be able to understand and control possession. And I was right, because now she's getting horrible nightmares, waking up crying in the morning. She's acting like a completely different person. Sitting legs crossed on the sofa in the freezing cold front room doing things she never does, and when I question it, I'm hurled with abuse in loud, aggressive tones. I know that this isn't the girl I originally got with, and I can sense something is completely off. Symptoms she is getting. Starting on day 1, nothing. Day 2, she had red dots on her skin in a straight line. Day 3, sleeping non-stop. Day 4, sleeping non-stop. Mentioned to me that she looked into the mirror and said in her head, "This isn't a very good body." Day 5, nausea, dizziness, lightheadedness. Day 6, a nightmare of one of the worst things that she's ever dreamt of. And on the same day, her legs are shaky and hurt. I need help and guidance immediately, as I'm going back to work soon and I can't leave her alone all by herself. not whilst this is going on. The only thing I've got in mind at the moment is pulling out the Ouija board and telling it to leave my partner's body and our flat. Do a protection potion, sage the absolute hell out of the flat, and if that all fails, I think I'm offering myself in trade for her to be left alone, as I think mentally I'm a lot more able to take on such a thing once again. Looking for a step-by-step advice on what to do, I need to sort this out ASAP. Edit. After the demon took control of her, we had a chat, and honestly, I can't believe how chill it is. We've come to an agreement, and every full moon we're going to talk, and I'm going to study and note down everything possible. I appreciate everyone who tried to help, though I do not appreciate everyone recommending me to seek help from doctors relating to mental health issues. But I get it, today's people are so out of touch with this stuff, I understand why people wouldn't believe me. Possessed? I need help. This is serious for real. If you're here to make fun of me or be skeptical, I'll just ignore the comments. I need metaphysical help. Something's going on. My fiancée was abused as a child and is turning 40 years this year. In the last 2 years, something has started to change. She has kids from her first marriage, 4 and 5, and her own parents have become estranged from her recently. Her family won't help in any way, even with just talking to her. So she's in constantly a state of limbo. The change happened pretty quick, and it's gone downhill at an increasing rate. It started with the confrontation that separated her from her parents, and it hasn't stopped or slowed down. These are the things that are happening. Physically, she's suffering from frequent severe injuries, broken toes, twisted ankles, head injuries, a sprained groinal area, fingers getting completely messed up, and just a general sickness that centers around her stomach. Mentally, she's had just the worst time climbing out of depression or negative thoughts. Her dreams are basically evil and serve no purpose other than to break her. It's getting steadily worse. No one in her life has reached out to her, and it really feels like there's something blocking her from receiving help from others. I'm the only one that can get in, and it's because I'm with her all the time. People who I know care about her just seem to hurt her with what they say or fail to do. Part of it is her attitude, I know that, but it doesn't account for everything. In her life, basically everything has fallen apart. The house that she brought with her parents is now in jeopardy because of her parents deciding to sell it out from under her when she confronted them about written ownership. The original agreement was partial ownership between all three. Her mother took it upon herself to be the sole owner. She asked them about it. It devolved into a fight, and now her mum is selling the house. The car she was using for work broke down, and she since had to rely on lift rentals and working requirements to supply the family with a vehicle. Those work hours are 40, sometimes plus a week. It started okay, but in the last 5 months, every rental car that she gets has problems or something comes up that makes her unable to drive and work. The lift system started out so great, but It has since devolved into a daily cluster mess to deal with. Everything is falling apart faster and faster each day. In August, we went to a music festival together and really wanted and needed to let go and have a release. This was before everything started spiraling. That was when she sprained her groin. I asked her if she had ever considered that she may have something negative attached to her, like a spirit or something, and her face went pale. She said she couldn't talk about it because she felt that it was true, and that she never truly felt alone. I've since been keeping tabs on whatever it is, sometimes reaching out to tell it in some way that I am trying to get rid of it. I think it knows and has ramped up its game accordingly. I know it feeds off her negative reactions because she yells and breaks things, and when she does this, things only get worse, and not even as a direct result. She gets mad, calms down, and then something else completely unrelated and messed up happens, just like that, making her explode with that energy again. I seriously know something has stuck to her, and I have decided I will do anything possible to get rid of it. If I have to find someone else for it to feed off or just destroy it, whatever the heck it is, I'll do it. Please help. P.S. I am a metaphysical masseuse, so I am familiar with this world. I'm just at a total loss. Hello everyone, Grimm here. Thank you very much for making it to the end of this video, if you did. Please remember to like and subscribe, it really does help the channel out. Can you believe that so far we're starting to get so much movement on this channel? I believe the regular daily uploads are helping, but I know a big proportion of it is down to you guys that are coming along and interacting, like leaving comments, etc. So I appreciate each and every one of you, honestly. I'm not going to drag this out, so what we'll do is, in this comment section, could you please leave the word wood? Leave the word wood. That can be WOULD or WOOD, it doesn't matter. You can use it in a sentence, or you can just place the word down in the comment section to let me see you got this far. Well, anyway, okay. Be safe wherever you are. Have an amazing night or day. And I am Grimm. And I'm, well, signing off.